Hey everyone, welcome to another Basement Talk with Annie and Dave. I'm Dave Knowlton, and I'm here with my co-host of the Learning Vibes podcast, Dr. Annie Ranking. How are you, Annie?
Good. How are you today, Dave?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. So, welcome everyone to the Learning Vibes podcast. This is our fourth one in my parents' basement. So hopefully we won't be having my parents' basement in the ones after this kind of fourth one here. But you can hear I'm a little bit echoey. So I'm trying to talk a little bit quieter so the echo is diminished. But we're here just social distancing, hanging out with grandparents. But I do want to welcome you to this basement talk. You can follow us on YouTube, which is on this channel that you're watching this video. We have a website, learningvibespodcast.weebly.com. Dave and I are both on Twitter. If you search our last names, you'll be able to find us. And we also have, I said, a website, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, yeah, all of that stuff. And then we also have a Gmail account. So you can send us an email at learningvibespodcast@gmail.com. And we just love to connect with all of you and hear your feedback and hear any comments that you might have. But today we're going to be talking about something really interesting, and it's failing and failure and how we can learn from failure. So Learning Vibes podcast and these basement talks are really all about the artistry of learning. And really, failure is a type of learning. So, Dave, what do you have about failure?
Yeah, Annie, I grew up in the 80s during a time of in search of excellence, right? And I grew up in a culture, a fairly conservative culture, that was all about getting it right and getting it right the first time and getting it right every time. And the more I've learned about learning, the more I've learned about artistry, one thing I've come to really appreciate is the value of failure. And really, failing is the only pathway to excellence. I mean, think about this for a minute. If we demonize failure with our own children, with our students, those of you that are teachers, with ourselves, with our employees, we are teaching people to never try anything that they will not get exactly right the first time. So then let's not be surprised when they don't stretch the range of what they think they are capable of doing. Really, Annie, if we demonize failure, we are demonizing achievement.
And learning.
And
I feel like through failure, you're learning.
Absolutely. And I often, frankly, am disheartened as I talk to teachers, parents, other people in authority positions, university professors, that failing seems to be the worst thing you can do in their minds. But failing really is the only pathway to success. So this week, as you're still hunkering down at home, maybe starting to get out a little bit, as you're trying new things in your own learning, as you're trying new things in your own sense of personal artistry, as your kids are trying things, I have a new challenge for you. Aim to fail gloriously.
There you go.
Fail big, fail beautifully, fail brilliantly. I used to have a drum instructor growing up who would say regularly, if you're gonna screw up big time. Right? And that way you have opportunity to look at the mistake, to correct the mistake, to learn from failure and move yourself toward artistry, toward learning, toward innovation, toward supporting everyone around you in a meaningful way. So fail gloriously. And I'll mention, Annie, that on our, at least as we're recording this in late May, it's planned for our July 1 episode of the Learning Vibes podcast. We will be talking about the textbook, or the book rather, Little Bets by Peter Sims. And you will hear more in that episode about the need to fail. So my challenge for everybody, go fail big time.
That's right. And learn while you're doing it. So I think that's the biggest thing is when you fail, try again, right? So do it again. So if a failure, don't let that be a roadblock, but be something that creates more creativity. So failure is a road to learning and a road to creativity. And if you look at a lot of great inventors throughout history, they had many failures. And then look at what they've created. So that might be even something you could look into, are some of the inventors who had those glorious failures that have then led us to some great things in our society.